If you've ever hung out with a chronic complainer, I think you know the feeling when you're depleted without any energy and kind of low. And you notice that over time you're looking through the world with a more negative outlook, almost like that negativity and toxicity from that other person seeped into you. In today's video, I want to share some really helpful tips of how you can overcome that feeling and how to even prevent it beforehand. I would describe myself as an empath and a highly sensitive person, and while that can have incredible positive benefits to be that deep feeling and to have these empathic abilities, sometimes it really feels like a burden. In my own experience, I've noticed this so many times. I used to go to a lot of dance classes and I used to go to a lot of auditions, and that's when you get in contact with a lot of the competitive energy, right? Because everybody's there for the same reasons. And I always noticed that I had a hard time either distinguishing what were my feelings and what I kind of took on from other people, especially in these scenarios where we're having to prove ourselves and there is a higher anxiety in everybody. I knew that a few of these anxious thoughts were mine. It just felt so overwhelming because I didn't have a technique or a strategy that could separate my feelings from other people. Before I get into the tips and strategies, I wanted to tell you maybe a little bit of a shocking fact about how negativity can impact, of course, our mental health, but also our physical health. The same way positive thinking, positive thoughts can impact and rewire our brain, negativity has the same effect, obviously in not such a good way. If you've ever hung out with a chronic complainer that sees the negative in literally everything, even though you might have been a positive person and are trying to find the positive, that you notice over time more and more of these negative things too, because maybe you've spent too much time with that negative friend or family member. Spending time with negative people on a consistent basis can literally kill you. I know that sounds very dramatic, but hear me out for a second. Studies have shown that if you only spend 5 minutes with a chronic complainer and their negativity, that can decrease your immune system for the next 6 hours. Going forward, if you choose to spend more and more time with these toxic and negative people, it can even lead to something drastic as a heart attack or a stroke. I separated the strategies into 3 different chapters. The first one is for people when you know you're hanging out or you're having to meet, you're having to deal with toxic people or just negative people, and what you can do beforehand to protect your energy. Then the middle part is what you can do during, when you notice like, oh, this is going into a different route that I don't really want to. The last part is for circumstances when you're not aware that you're having to deal with a negative person, what to do afterwards to make you feel better again. The first step you can do beforehand is repeating a mantra or an affirmation for yourself. Here's just an idea of affirmations that you could choose. I know I'm in charge of my body and I choose to protect my energy. I choose to not engage with this behavior. I choose calm and peace over having to be right. I am calm. I am relaxed. I have the power to control my own emotions. If I know I'm meeting up with somebody that might bring me down a little bit, I repeat these affirmations over and over before, either in my head or when I'm driving there, I can say it out loud. What works best for me is sticking to one mantra only and then just repeating that over and over. The other thing that you can do beforehand is limit your time before you're meeting up with them. Let's say they reach out and they want to meet up for brunch or lunch or a coffee date or some kind of event. What I do is I'm limiting the time ahead of the meeting. So I would say something like, oh, I am available on that day. I would love to meet you, but I only have 30 minutes available. And that signals to them like I'm there for them. I can be their friend. I can be their listener. But for me, that's a boundary. I set my boundary and said I only will be available for 30 minutes. And then obviously you have to stick to your boundary and then just leave or just say like, oh, I gotta go now because I have to do XYZ. I found this so helpful for me because in the past I always noticed that I tend to be a people pleaser and I want to help the other person, and then I got stuck in the cycle of just listening for the complaining to go on over and over and over again, and there was just no time to like, yeah, I gotta go now, like, it's really awkward. So doing that has helped me immensely. If you are into crystals, I would highly recommend getting any type of black crystal and wear it, either if it's a bracelet on your right hand that is sending out the energy to the other person and it protects you as well. You could go with any black crystals you like. They're usually for protecting your energy. A couple of crystals I really like to work with is hematite that I have on my necklace right here. I really love black tourmaline, and shungite works perfectly as well. What you can also do, which is not black but brown, is smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is incredibly amazing at transmuting negative energy. So I feel a little protective shield when I wear that. And even if you don't believe in the power of crystals, just seeing it as a reminder, if you look down on your wrist or just feeling the necklace or the stone in your hand, it's like, okay, I'm protected, I'm in control, and I choose over my own emotions. That can also go together with your mantra or affirmation. By the way, my name is Miri if you're new here. My channel's all about spirituality, personal growth, and development, and I post new videos every single Wednesday. If you found this video helpful so far, I would be super grateful if you could give this video a thumbs up. Thank you. Now let's say you're meeting up with a person, you're wearing really good spirits, and all of a sudden you just feel the toxic energy drain the life out of you. What can you do? First and foremost, focus on your breath. Our breath is such an incredible tool that we often overlook. So when I'm stressed out, I forget to breathe and I hold my breath, and it's like the complete opposite. Or we tend to go into like a really fast-paced breath, which makes us more anxious and gives us more stress. And we don't want that, right? A breathing technique I really love is, I tried to say the sentence 3 times, so wish me luck. Andrew Huberman, who came up with the breathing technique of the physiological sigh. How that works is you take 2 consecutive inhales through the nose, so no breathing in between. Breathe in through the nose and then again, and then a long exhale. The longer you exhale, the more relaxed and calm state your body will be in. I always thought for the longest time that you have to deeply inhale and then exhale super long as well. But what he says, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is the more you inhale, it signals to your body like, oh, we need to prepare for something and we have to get the gear started even more. So short inhale and long exhale. If you think that's too obvious in your situation, just focusing and controlling your breath, maybe something like box breathing where you imagine a box, inhale for 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, hold it for 4, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And that just brings your nervous system down and you can focus on what's in front of you and try to stay a little bit more present. Affirmations work in this scenario as well. Just recite it in your head and remind yourself of the intention and the mantra that you given yourself. What you can also do is imagining a shield in front of you. A shield that is either in front of you or completely surrounds you like a big bubble. If you know these bubble artists that have like these super huge bubbles and then there's a person standing and they just submerge them, or the people are just standing there and then they're surrounded by the bubble. That's what I like to imagine myself if I'm in a context where I have a negative person talk to me, or even if I get yelled at, or any kind of situation. That might sound silly, but we're all constantly sending out energy, and as I said in the beginning, it's hard to distinguish like what's yours and what's the other person's, and sometimes it like intertwines and it's hard to detach from like what's what? Is this mine? Is this yours? And then you feel drained too. So I like to imagine I'm in this bubble that doesn't pop so fast, but that just surrounds me and that gives me protection and just signals to me that this is my safe space. I am in control of my being. I am in control how I respond to it as well. And just staying in your peace and in your power. Here are some tips that you can do after you hung out with a complainer or negative person. First of all, try to ground yourself. If you're feeling really agitated and really negative, maybe you feel anger, maybe you feel kind of a frustration, as much as you can, try to ground yourself. Ways you can ground yourself is either, if you're living in a space where that's possible, to go barefoot on the grass. That is like the fastest way and it has so many benefits. Or if you live close to a body of water, so a waterfall, a lake, a river, something like that, just spending time in nature has a positive effect. So there's something called negative ions, and they have a positive impact. The more you're in nature, so waterfalls or water in general has the highest percentage of negative ions. I love the ocean. That always makes me feel calm, relaxed, and at peace. And that's the impact of those negative ions, because it's just bringing our nervous system down. If you don't have a body of water close to you, you can just simply take a shower. And just imagine with every single drop that comes down on your body, it washes away the negativity. Again, I have a little crystal tip. If you are into crystals, then I would highly recommend buying one of those. And this is a selenite wand. It is also known as liquid light. And what a lot of people do is to do an aura brush. So when you get home, you're feeling the negative energy, you would just take that and not even touch your body. You would just go from head to toe and kind of brush it over your body. And thinking of that, like you're brushing and you're cutting away the negativity that surrounded you. Selenite is one of the most versatile crystals that you can get, and they're cheap as well. So I would highly recommend them. Just don't put them in water. They're gonna dissolve. One of the most efficient yet hardest ways to set a boundary is to say no. But I know that's super hard for a lot of us, especially if we're people pleasing. I found some good strategies that I want to share with you in this video. Go and be your favorite self. I'll see you soon.